Hey church, this is Nate from the School of Ministry. Let's talk about something pretty amazing for a moment. The power of God's love in our lives. So picture this scene from Mark chapter 11, verse 6. Jesus' friends, the disciples, they're on this mission to fetch a colt. And see, they're just following Jesus' instructions here, but they run into something, they run into some curious folks who start asking some questions. And despite this, these guys, they stick to what Jesus told them to do, and everything works out, which is pretty cool, right? But this story is like this big flashing sign that shows us how important it is to listen to and follow God's guidance in our lives. Now, Jesus, he didn't just make some random request of these guys. Everything he said, it was part of a bigger picture, like this divine plan. And so when the disciples ran into trouble, their solid commitment to following Jesus' words kept them on track, which teaches us a really big lesson. In order to handle life's ups and downs, we've got to not only hear what God is telling us, but also actually do it. So how do we tune in to what God is saying? Well, maybe you find that connection in prayer during those still, quiet moments. Some of you aren't quiet at all during your prayer time, and you connect with God that way too. For me, I want to know what God is trying to say, so I dive into my Bible. And with all the noise in our world, it takes a prepared heart to hear what God is saying. But here's the thing, hearing is just the beginning. The real challenge is doing something about it. Following God's directions, they can be tough. It might push you out of your comfort zone or lead you down paths that don't seem to make a lot of sense at first. It's all about having this courageous faith. Like, we have to just trust that God is pointing the way and he doesn't leave us hanging. Instead, we trust that God is right there with us every step of the way. And so if you think about the scariest thing that God has ever nudged you to do, like maybe it was a big life change, like moving to a new city or changing jobs. Maybe you felt like God wanted you to let go of a dream that you'd had for so long. For some of you, it was probably obvious that God wanted you to stand up for what was right in the middle of a hostile environment. Whatever it was, remember this: when God asks you to step up, he's also giving you the tools that you need. God gives you the strength to do the job with him. God gives you the wisdom to do the job with him. And God gives you the grace to do the job with him. Have you ever noticed the pattern here? Well, of course you have. You can do whatever it is that God is asking you to do. All you have to do is obey the instructions. Now, as we're walking this out today, let's aim to be like the disciples from Mark chapter 11, verse 6. It says, "And they told them what Jesus had said, and they let them go." Here's how we do it. We tune into what Jesus said. We be ready to follow his lead. We be confident that Jesus is with us all the way. And then we have to be ready to tell someone all about it. And who knows where God might lead you to next.